Have you noticed that the number of friends you talk to is getting smaller? Maybe you've found yourself ignoring a call on purpose, or maybe a conversation with an old friend just doesn't feel the same anymore. I've been there too. There used to be a friend I could talk to about anything, but one day, I realized that even picking a restaurant to meet felt like a negotiation. We disagreed on values, politics, even how we spend money. At first I thought I was just being sensitive, but now I understand. This is something all of us go through in midlife and beyond. In this video, I'll break down why friendships naturally fade as we grow older, the hidden reasons behind the emotional distance, and most importantly, what kind of friendships truly matter now. If you watch until the end, you'll realize that losing friends isn't something to fear. You'll see clearly what kind of connection can bring real comfort, right here, right now, in this stage of life. Part 1. It's natural for friendships to fade. As we get older, we start noticing something. The phone rings less, plans with friends happen less often, and honestly, the desire to go out and meet people, it fades too. But here's the thing, this isn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just the natural rhythm of life. When we were younger, friendships came easy. We had school, work, church, hobbies, so many built-in ways to meet people. But once you hit your 60s and beyond, those touch points begin to disappear. We retire, our kids grow up and move on, and our daily routines become quieter. Relationships often form around roles, like coworkers, fellow parents, or neighbors. But when those roles go away, so do many of the friendships that came with them. It's not about falling out. It's just that we no longer share the same space, goals, or daily life. On top of that, energy becomes precious. Even a simple outing feels like work. Getting ready, making conversation, navigating emotions. It's not as easy as it used to be. And then there's loss. Friends get sick, some pass away, and with each goodbye, we close off just a little more. We start telling ourselves, maybe it's just easier to be alone. But again, this isn't strange. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's a natural part of this stage in life. You don't need a wide circle anymore. You don't need to force new friendships. Sometimes, all you really need is one person. One friend who truly gets you, who shares your present, not just your past. And maybe, just maybe, that person is already in your life, or someone from your past, waiting to reconnect. Part 2. Why friendships fade. Differences in values, energy, and money. Let's be honest. Friendships don't fade just because we stop caring. They often drift apart because of something deeper, growing differences. As we get older, those differences show up in 3 big ways: our values, our energy levels, and our finances. Let's start with values. There was a time when you and your friend shared the same views, same lifestyle. But after retirement, life takes us in different directions. A simple conversation about politics can turn into a full-blown argument. Talking about religion or our kids' choices can suddenly feel tense. By now, we've all developed strong opinions, and strong opinions can clash. What we used to laugh off in our 30s might now feel like a personal jab in our 60s. Then comes energy. Meeting up used to be easy. Now even planning lunch can feel exhausting. Some friends still love to go out and travel, while others need days to recover from a single outing. One friend says, "Let's meet again next week." But you're thinking, "I just need to rest." And lastly, money. This one's tricky. One friend might be living comfortably, dining out, traveling often. Another is stretching every dollar, living on a fixed income. At first it doesn't matter, but over time, you start to feel the gap. You might wonder, why do I always end up paying? Or quietly think, they never even offer. Even if no one says anything out loud, the tension grows. Now here's the truth. None of this means someone is wrong or at fault. It's just life. We change. Our circumstances change. And those changes shape how we relate to others. At this stage, it's not about finding a friend who matches us perfectly. It's about finding someone who doesn't make us feel tired or judged. Someone we can be around without walking on eggshells. So if you've grown distant from a friend, don't blame yourself. And don't feel guilty for letting the connection fade. Maybe you've simply grown in different directions, and that's okay. And Part 3. Sometimes, New friends matter more than old ones. Have you ever sat across from an old friend and suddenly realized the conversation just felt off? Like you were forcing it? You used to laugh together, talk for hours. But now, the words don't flow, and even your tastes feel miles apart. At first I thought, is something wrong with me? But the truth is simple. We've just been living different lives for too long. People often say, old friends are the best. And yes, there's something special about shared history. But in midlife and beyond, what we need most is someone who connects with who we are today. Let's say I've started walking every morning to stay active. Talking with someone who shares that interest feels energizing. Or maybe I met someone in a local book club. We talk about the same authors, love the same kinds of stories. That person may be new, but they truly fit into my life now. Old friends remember who we were. New friends understand who we are. And sometimes, being seen in the present moment is exactly what we need to feel comforted, connected, and understood. In fact, research from the U.S. National Institute on Aging shows that expanding your social circle can help preserve brain health and reduce feelings of depression. New friendships do more than warm the heart. They keep the mind sharp, the soul alive. Now, I get it. Meeting new people isn't always easy. It can feel awkward, especially as we get older. But in shared spaces, like hobby groups, lifelong learning classes, or volunteer work, walls come down faster than you think. No one there cares what your job used to be or where your kids went to college. They care about who you are now. And here's the beautiful part. You can be that kind of friend for someone else. You can be the kind voice that lifts someone's day. That, I've found, is one of the most meaningful gifts of this stage in life. So here's what I've come to believe. We don't feel lonely because we lack friends. We feel lonely when no one shares in the life we're living right now. Don't be afraid to open up to new friendships. You're not starting over. You're simply letting someone new walk into your life. Part 4. A friend should be a lantern, not just a mirror. As I entered my 60s, I came to a quiet realization. The longer a friend has known me, the more likely they are to see me only as who I used to be, not who I am today. They'll say things like, "That's not like you," or "You never used to be that way." And even if it's said with love, it pulls me backward, back to an earlier version of myself that no longer fits. At some point, those familiar friends start to feel less like companions and more like mirrors trying to hold me still. But I've learned, a true friend isn't a mirror. They're a lantern. They don't just reflect who I was. They gently light the path ahead, no matter how unfamiliar or new it might be. They listen when I talk about the life I want to live now. They cheer me on. Sometimes it's as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a quiet nod of encouragement, or a message that says, "That's amazing. I think I'll try that too." Friendship isn't just about sharing old memories. It's about supporting each other's next chapter. As we grow older, we share fewer new experiences. Life slows down, and the days feel quieter. But that's exactly why a friend who supports your growth, who believes in your future, becomes even more precious. And I've realized something else. I want to be that kind of friend for someone too. When a friend tells me about a new dream, I don't want to laugh or question it. I want to encourage them with all my heart. Because the truth is, we all evolve. We all grow in directions we never expected. And what we need is not someone who keeps reminding us of who we were, but someone who quietly shines a light as we become who we're meant to be. If you have even one person like that in your life, your path forward will feel a little warmer, a little clearer. And if you can be that person for someone else, that too is a beautiful way to age. Part 5. Friendship can be rebuilt. How to reconnect with old friends. Something changed for me after turning 60. I realized that friendship can be rebuilt. Just like an old house that's been left alone for years. With the right care, it can be restored. Old friends you haven't spoken to in decades. Friends who drifted away after a small disagreement. Or those you simply lost touch with over time. I used to think those relationships were just over, done. But I've come to see that all it takes to reconnect is a single message, a simple, "How have you been?" And just like that, what once felt like a collapsed bridge begins to rebuild. One day I sent a short message to a coworker I hadn't spoken to in 30 years. Hey, just thinking of you. How's life treating you these days? That was it. But that one sentence became the spark that rekindled a connection. We began exchanging messages, then met for a walk. It was like rediscovering a piece of myself I'd forgotten. Here's what I've learned. Friendships don't just vanish with time. They may dim, like a quiet flame, but they rarely go out completely. And reigniting them doesn't require a grand gesture. It just takes a match. One small act of reaching out. As we get older, making new friends can feel daunting, but reaching out to someone we once cared about? That can be easier than we expect, and often surprisingly warm. The key is courage. Even if there was a falling out years ago, those old arguments often feel smaller now. What matters most is the connection, not the past. Sometimes a single, "Hey, just checking in," means more than a full apology ever could. Friendship is not a building that collapses forever. It's a home that can be repaired. And if we rebuild it with care, there's still room inside for laughter, comfort, and shared memories. You don't need many friends. Just be a good one. As we get older, we naturally start to lose things. Our jobs, our energy, our roles in society, and yes, even our friends. There was a time when our phones were filled with people to call. Now most of those names live only in memory. At first, I felt empty, lonely. I even asked myself, did I live my life the wrong way? But with time, I came to understand something important. We don't need a lot of friends. What we really need is to become someone worth being friends with. We all want good friends, but we often forget to be one. At this stage in life, maybe we only have one or two people who truly know us. And honestly, that's enough. If someone sees you, accepts you, and stands by you, that bond is worth more than 100 shallow connections. And here's the truth. Good relationships begin with us. If I treat people with respect, show up with sincerity, reach out first, and learn how to forgive, that kind of heart always finds its way back. So don't feel bad if your contact list is shrinking. You don't have to force new connections or keep every relationship alive. Sometimes what you really need is to clear some space in your life and focus on becoming someone warm, kind, and true. Because in the end, even if it feels like we're walking alone, we might still be smiling in someone's memory. So let's not stop practicing what it means to be a good person. Before you go looking for friends, try being one. That might be the most certain way to make the second half of life feel a little less lonely and a lot more meaningful. Now, did someone come to mind as you watch this? A friend, a parent, someone you care about deeply? If so, share this video with them. One simple click could protect their health and even change their life. You could be the reason someone starts living better. So, go ahead. Be that person. Be the guardian of your family's health. This is LiveWell. Thank you for watching.